Not many men can keep on walking through fire and flame, fighting for what they believe in. Fewer still can reconcile with their actions. Once a simple man in New Canaan, Joshua Graham would become one of the most feared leaders of the Legion, and yet he would find some small amount of redemption in a small tribe in western Utah. Born in New Canaan, Joshua Graham would quickly learn the trades of his people: missionary work, translations of the many disparate tribal dialects of the region. Growing up in a time of relative peace did not hinder his training in combat, however. Graham would become an expert in fighting with the preferred weapons of the Mormons of New Canaan, namely the .45 caliber automatic pistol. Graham would eventually be sent out on a holy mission by his superiors to spread the faith and impart his knowledge onto the tribals. When a Followers of Apocalypse expedition was sent into the Grand Canyon to help and study the tribals, Graham was an obvious choice for a guide and translator. Not long after, Graham would meet two followers who would be drastically changing his fate. Edward Sallow and Bill Calhoun would become Graham's traveling companions. At some point, the group encountered the Blackfoot tribe. For unknown reasons, be it mistranslations or a change of interest, the Blackfoots decided to capture the group and hold them for ransom. Instead of sitting idly by, Sallow would take charge of the situation and teach the tribals how to wage war the proper way. He showed them how to clean and maintain their guns that they had in their possession, how to make explosives, and how to utilize squad tactics. Sallow would lead the Blackfoots to victory against the many enemies of the tribe, and Graham would prove invaluable during this time as he translated the orders of Sallow to the tribals, and in his own words, Graham would lead the Legion for 30 years before it encountered the NCR at the Hoover Dam. Graham, known then as Malpais Legate, would lead the Legion forces across the dam into the town of Boulder City, where the NCR had planted a large amount of explosives. When the Legion finally entered the town after the NCR Rangers had bought the engineers time, the town erupted in a firestorm, burying the Legion in tons of rubble. Though Graham would not be injured, his punishment would be just as severe, if not more so. Covered in scorching fire and thrown down the Grand Canyon. Graham would survive the fall, and when he awoke the following day, he saw Caesar's punishment. The burnt man crawled his way out of the Grand Canyon and set out on his journey home. For 3 agonizing months, Graham traveled. His immunity to most modern medicine made his suffering even greater. Despite the pain, he was forced to change his bandages daily to prevent disease and infection. As he would say, "It is better to be clean than comfortable." Graham eventually found his way back to New Canaan. His peers welcomed him back as though he'd never left, like a prodigal son returning home. In Graham's eyes, he had received a second baptism at the hands of the Legion, and it gave him purpose and rekindled his faith, and removed his pride and vanity. The 30 years of separation, war, atrocities, and shame were irrelevant to his family. Eventually, word of Graham's survival would find their way back to Caesar. In response, he forbade his men from speaking Graham's name under pain of death. This did not have the intended effect that Caesar would have hoped, as it only strengthened the myth of the burned man. Caesar would secretly order his frumentari to hunt down and eliminate Graham to ensure there were no threats to his position. Graham would come to forgive Caesar, as hate and revenge is not the Mormon way. Despite this, Graham is keenly aware of Caesar's desire to eliminate him. By the year 2281, Graham's sins would finally catch up with him. The Whitelegs, driven into a frenzy, trained and equipped by one of Caesar's top frumentari, Ulysses. As an offering to the legion, they launched a surprise attack on New Canaan while Graham was away from the city. With the destruction of the one home he knew, Graham would assume the position of war chief of the Dead Horses tribe. With his new position, he would help protect the desperate survivors of New Canaan as they fled into the Zion Canyon. With the Whitelegs hot on their heels, Daniel, a close friend and fellow New Canaanite, and Graham would argue that they should fight a defensive retreat so that New Canaanite survivors, Dead Horses and the Sorrows, another of the Zion tribes that Daniel had come to lead, would evacuate the canyon, leaving it to the Whitelegs. Graham strongly opposed this, however, arguing that they should instead take the fight to the Whitelegs and eradicate them from the valley. But what happened in the Zion Valley, and what is the fate of Joshua Graham? That can only be answered in one way. You find out for yourself. And there we are. Really hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe and all that bullshit. This one took way too long, as I always say in my videos. I'm going to try and make this next video a little bit faster. Yeah. I'm thinking potentially next time I'm going to cover, if you guys are interested in that, one of the factions from my homebrew D&D setting. It's more fantasy than Fallout, mainly because it's fantasy, but yeah. Yeah. Let me know down in the comments what you think. My name has been Lobsterman, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.
We can't expect God to do all the work.